Hey there, it's Julie Hutchison here on Friday afternoon. Julie from Think, Be, Do Leadership, the home of the Quiet Leaders Launchpad, and helping you to grow your business by growing you and growing your team. And today, the title of this is Stuck in the Middle with You. I was in song mode, I think. And what I mean by that is why you might be the bottleneck in your own business, or other managers, if you've got a slightly bigger business, might be the bottleneck in your business as well. So why you might be the one thing that stops your business performing and from growing. Like sometimes we look at ourselves and we think, why is everybody else not doing it the way they should be? It's very easy to look elsewhere. And the experience I had of this, I was talking to a lovely chap this week, who was kind of complaining about his team and saying that, well, I need some training for my team, because they're not engaged, they don't communicate, they don't really try very hard, and I need to, motivate my team. And that was really interesting, because it was all about what they needed to do and how they weren't doing the thing. And when we actually listened to what he was talking about, we've discovered that actually, and not being funny, but we know this anyway. Really, we know this, which is actually that behaviour breeds behaviour. So if your team in your business or in your department or wherever you work isn't performing, the first thing we need to do is to look at ourselves. But that's actually quite hard, because as much as sometimes we over criticize ourselves, and I don't know if you're listening live today, say hello and let me know if you sometimes over criticize yourself on certain things. But the other thing we do is we look upon others and we get frustrated, because we want things to go. We're busy people, aren't we? We want things to go the way we want them to go. We need them to just get done because we're busy and we've got to get the thing out the door. And if it doesn't, then it's very easy to look elsewhere and think, oh, why didn't Bob do it? Why didn't Julie do this, or whatever? And the thing is, in smaller businesses, but also in big businesses too, but particularly in small business, when the owner of a business, or the people that have been in the business from the very start to have different roles from where they were when they first started. So they've got more staff to manage, or it was a really flat structure, and now that flat structure is like super not working because it's just too complicated now, and nobody knows what's going on, and there's no sort of lines of communication. And so you're having to find lots of communication you're having to do with lots of individual people, rather than being able to make better use of your time and have better structure. So what was I saying? I've lost myself now. So the point is that as your company grows, you have to do a different role. And what I'm seeing, and this is what I was seeing from this wonderful chap, very nice person, but struggling a little bit, was that he was, and you might be, the bottleneck in your own business. And the reason why that is because, like, most people come to work to do a good job. So if you've got people there, and I bet your bottom dollar that they're good people and they probably want to be there, and especially in these times at the moment, we don't want to keep changing stuff. We want to give support to people. We want to have a business that is stable and steady and growing. But what we want is people to do what we want to do. And so you and your team of people are growing, and that means that you have to have a different role than you originally did. So we're going from being that person who's doing all of the different things in there. We're trying to step back. So we need to improve the way we communicate, the way we engage people, and the way we motivate our team. Because then our behavior, the way we show up, whether we are well, let's say whether people breathe a sigh of relief when you walk into the room, or whether they breathe a sigh of relief when you walk out of the room, is super important. Because as your business is growing, if you are the one that is demotivating people, and you might not even know it, and then you're the one who is not communicating well, and you're the one who is not showing people how it needs to be done so that they are confident and capable and happy, then you are the one that stops them from performing. And you probably, if it is you, don't even know it's you, because we're not looking at it from that perspective. And I like to look at this from like a detective. If I were looking at, like who done it, We're off on one now. I know. If you're listening live, say hello. We're off on our example now of strangeness, probably. But anyway, if we were doing, I was a police officer for 16 years, so it's got to be something to do with murder and mayhem. But if you were a detective and you wanted to know what was going on, you'd start looking at the pieces of the puzzle. You'd start uncovering, like, why did that happen? What happened there? And this often is where we don't delve into the reasons why things are happening. And the lovely thing about what we do with the Leaders Launchpad is that that's exactly what we do, because leadership and the impact that you have as the boss in your business, the person who is going to either help or hinder people to do the thing that you want them to do, you have a vested interest in them being happy and doing what you want them to do, of course. So you're the one there who needs to grow and can actually unpick how you can be a leader, unpack that jigsaw, take all the pieces out and look at those pieces individually. And then you can look at each person in your team and say, hold on a second, what does Bob need? What does Julie need? Yeah, what does Cheryl need? And am I, as the leader, giving it to those people? And if I'm not, what's the impact of that? Because that can change our behavior, this getting conscious of how we are showing up in our business. Now, the other thing that happens is that it's not just you, because I talked about that flat structure. As you grow, then you're going to need some more people in a more senior role. So you're going to have to build that management team as you grow through. And the problem is that you probably want to build it from people within, and you see people who you think, well, they would be great, but they have not necessarily had those skills. They have not unpacked that jigsaw of what does it take to be a leader, and are probably really good at the technical aspects of what they do. Excuse me. And you're seeing something in them, but you've got to grow them too. So both you and those people that you want to build into a management team need to understand how to unpack how to be a leader, because otherwise you're all going to end up being the bottlenecks in your business. Because what happens is, if you don't get it right, it means that you won't develop trust. So you'll still be getting involved too much, and you will be disabling people in the team. They will have to keep coming to you and asking, how do I do this? What next? How do you want that done? Every single time. And then you have to reinvent the wheel. Who's reinventing it? It's being reinvented, because there's not the repetitive nature of like, this is the system, this is the process, I trust you to get on with it, let's do it. Okay, so I'm just going to share, she says, with confidence. I always worry whether I am actually sharing or not, but let's see if we can. Hold on. We're going to share this diagram, and I've shown it before, but I'm going to show it again because I think it's good. And I'm always being asked to share it again. There we go. Okay, there it is, the wonderful circles and triangles diagram. Okay, so it's a blank one at the moment, so hang on a second. I'm gonna turn it around and do something with it. Right, okay. So if we were to say that growing your business means that you have to have team performance, okay, that's what you're looking for. The people in your business are doing they're doing the thing, team performance. Then if you're thinking to yourself, well, they're not doing it, it's either can't do, and that means that they don't know how. It's either won't do, they don't want to do it for you or for the rest of the team, or don't do is though they don't think that they have to do it to your agenda or the business's vision and agenda. They do it to their own agenda. So they don't do it the way in which you want it to be done, let's say. Okay. Now, the reasons for that are something to do with the way you may have set it up. Okay. So in other words, we set people up to fail. So if we are then to look at this jigsaw puzzle and say, well, what we want is not can't do, we want can do. So we want to enable people. We don't want won't do, we want engaged, i.e. will do. We don't want don't do, because I'm too busy doing it to my own agenda. We want somebody who's excited and committed to what we want. Yeah. So what we're looking for is confident people who are enabled, because when you're enabled, when you are confident to get on with it, you know what needs to be done and you know how to do it. Over here on the excited side, you want, oh, sorry, I've gone to the bottom instead. On the engaged side, what you want is people to trust you and the other people around, because when you trust, then you're going to grow confidence on the other side. You're going to grow that desire to want to be part of something, because you can't, if you don't trust the people you're with and you don't feel comfortable with the people with and you're not communicating with them, you don't want to work there. Who wants to work there? I've been in that job. It was rubbish. Okay, and then lastly, if you want people excited, well, what does that look like? Well, that's about commitment to the cause of your business. So, if you're an accountant, or if you're in IT, or wherever you might be, it's what is it? What's the purpose of what we're trying to do? What do we aspire to? And do the people within my business actually agree to that? Now, where you, if you're not careful, can end up being the bottleneck is that, well, they can do, but we don't enable them. Okay, so they could if they wanted to, because maybe what they've got, let's bring these ones up here. These are how you do it. So on the left-hand side, they could be capable, but that's not the only thing that brings confidence and good decision making. They're not necessarily autonomous or clear about what they need to do and their ability to make good decisions. And people who perform, it's not about making the widget, let's say. It's about making good decisions about the widget, being able to say, do you know what, I think that should be like this in the style of this organization. Yeah, so autonomous and clear, being able to make their own decisions and clear about what good looks like. Now that is where often leaders, generally people who have been in the business for themselves and doing more of the technical stuff, struggle, because they don't create autonomy and they don't create clarity, even if they've got capability in the team. Okay, massive problem, because that's where you become the bottleneck. Because if they're capable but they don't have confidence because you haven't built autonomy in and you haven't built clarity in, what that means is they're still coming to you to ask you what's next. Yeah. And so this piece on this left-hand side is super, super important. Now, I'm not going to talk about these other pieces on the other side. You can see them, but I'm not going to talk today about those. They are just as important. But I want to say that you are probably the bottleneck if you haven't created autonomy or clarity. So we need to make sure that you're doing that. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. Hang on a second. So if you're listening live to this, do you think that autonomy or clarity is missing from your team? Okay, are they capable, but they're not confident? And you're thinking, why don't they just get on with it? Well, maybe it's because you haven't created clarity and you haven't created autonomy. How do you do that? Well, there's a whole part of our Leaders Launchpad, that is. What we need is to create people who can make good decisions. And the way we do that is we build our engagement and we build our focus, but then we build in coaching and clear guidelines around what it is that what good looks like. And that's one of the things that we work on for business owners and leaders who want to grow their skills in delivering these jigsaw puzzle pieces so that they have a good impact, so that their team can perform. Okay, so it's super, super important that you create autonomy and clarity, otherwise you'll be the bottleneck in the business. So if you're listening to this live, thank you. And if you have any comments, then please let me know. If you want to find out, well, okay, Julie, that's all very well, but if you want to find out how to increase the autonomy and the clarity in your business because you've got some capable people, then please PM me and you can find out, let's talk, and we can find out how we can actually help you to implement those strategies. And if you would like to have more information and more videos around helping people to grow their impact, grow themselves, grow their business, then join the Facebook group by all means, and I'll put the link in the comments. I hope that's been of use to you today. Remember, people do not want to be stuck in the middle with you. They want you to enable them and give them confidence, and you do that through clarity and autonomy. Okay, that is enough for a Friday afternoon. If you found this useful, let me know and give us a shout. If you're watching it on replay, then just let me know and I shall look out for the comments and I shall get back to you if you have any questions. Take care. It's Julie from Think, Be, Do Leadership. Oh, if I could end.